Welcome back to Boring Reviews.
Boring land.
Oh, just kidding.
Blasphemer! Hello,
right.
Boring Review Nation!
Kind of pointless.
We know all things.
All right. Welcome back to Boring Reviews. Nick here.
Gabe.
Oh, the lag is back. Unfortunately, the lag is
The
back.
lag is
We
real.
are
you serious?
We are here and we are ready to jump right into Tenet. That's right, Tenet. This is the newest Christopher Nolan film. Christopher Nolan is my favorite director, and he has been ever since I saw The Prestige, and I was like, wow, this guy's got something different to tell. And it is also starring a great cast. We have John David Washington, the son of Denzel Washington, but you know, he does not need to be called the son of Denzel Washington because this guy knows what he's doing. You got Robert Pattinson, you got Elizabeth Debicki, you got Dimple Kapadia, Michael Caine, and Kenneth Branagh. And of course, as far as the music goes, actually it's a little different. This is Ludwig Göransson, not Hans Zimmer doing the music for a Christopher Nolan film. So this is a film that we are going to keep it completely spoiler free. This review, it just came out. It came out early for us on the 31st. It came out everywhere else yesterday, and we are going to give you our thoughts, but we're not going to go too in depth with this film. Let me say, at the very beginning of this film, you realize, because I watched it and you watched it in an IMAX theater for first movie back in many months, you realize the first few minutes in, I'm so glad I'm in a theater watching this and not at my home on video on demand or not at drive-in, something like that. I'm glad I'm in a theater because you need to experience this movie in a theater, IMAX if you can, to truly appreciate it.
I tell you what's crazy. Nick knows I was gonna go with the wife to watch this on in a drive-through because there's a drive-through here in Vegas, and the show was really late. And after Nick saw it before I did, and he said, "Bro, you've got to see this in IMAX. It adds to the experience." And it was so crazy. At one point, Savannah had to put in her earbuds, which are noise-canceling headphones, because it was so loud. This movie is absolutely bananas. Christopher Nolan, I don't think there's another director that uses all the elements. He weaves everything together. He doesn't forget about the score. You were tricked just like I was. I only know because I was watching a report about the movie. But the score was not done by Hans Zimmer because Hans Zimmer is actually was working right now on the score for is he doing what is Hans Zimmer doing right now? I already forgot. He's working on a score for another movie though. Bottom line,
I'm not sure.
Yeah, so he wasn't available to do this, but. I mean, he is a master of weaving everything together, and I would have been so disappointed if I saw this outside of IMAX. I'm glad this is the movie that. Okay, the New Mutants came out. I want to leave my house for that. All right, I'm not going to movie theater for that. Other things of job, I'm like not doing it. Tenet, I'm gonna risk it, man. We're up in there, you know what I'm saying, bandana it up or whatnot. But you know, our movie theater, AMC did a really good job. It's IMAX, so there's not that many seats anywhere. And I'm telling you that if there was 20 people in that room, 25 people in the room, it was a lot. Everybody was separated social distance. I actually went about getting the seats on the side where you only had the two seats. So I knew it was just going to be me and Savannah. But it was me and Savannah, nobody in front of us, and probably 5 rows before the other 2 people were back there. So it was relatively safe distancing. But man, I will tell you, dude, this movie, let us know in the chat. If you want us, this is the kind of movie that deserves not just a spoiler review, but an introspective discussion. I guarantee you there's going to be many discussions had about this film for years to come. You know what I mean? Like Inception did, because there's so many layers to this film. It's hard to even discuss it. But what I will say is I think what directors and producers are doing now are actually thinking about things. Think about it. James Cameron didn't really think about time travel when he created the Terminator. He just did it, you know what I mean? Because of course you got the time travel quagmire. You know what I mean? You cannot affect your future by affecting your past. It doesn't work that way. And they explained that in Avengers Endgame. It was my favorite line in that movie from Ant-Man. What's his name? Paul Rudd. He's like, so you're trying to tell me that Back to the Future was bullcrap? And everybody was like, why does everybody think time travel works that way? He's like, every movie you've seen about time travel, Hot Tub Time Machine, Back to the Future, Lost in Time, Future Time, it all works that way. He was like, no, you cannot affect your future by changing your past, because now that past is your future. It doesn't work that way. So this is the route that Hans Zimmer's took. And the one thing I will say is, just like The Prestige, everything is in plain sight. All right. I did not realize, and maybe that's just me, that Tenet was a palindrome, which means it's a word that is spelled the same way forwards as it's spelled backwards. You know what I mean? Kids love, we're school teachers, so kids love Taco Cat, right? Taco Cat backwards is Taco Cat. Well, Tenet backwards is Tenet. And bottom line, if you go into the film thinking that, you'll pick up a lot of things a lot quicker than we did. Nick, I'll let you start off.
Yeah. So I'm not going to go into synopsis. I'm not going to go into details because I don't want to ruin it for anyone. I think this movie needs you to go in there with as much fresh eyes, unknowing eyes as possible. But I will tell you, minute one, the first sequence, it's Christopher Nolan. It reminded me of The Dark Knight, the way that starts off, where it's just heart pumping, intense. There's something going on where you don't know exactly the whole story at all, but you're just along for the ride. The music, the sound mixing. I never really mentioned sound mixing. Unbelievable. A lot of people are going to complain about it being too loud. I know you said your wife had the headphones in there. I absolutely loved it. My chair was shaking, for crying out loud, at certain parts, and it let me know what's going on. I went to a later show and I was worried, am I going to be tired? It's been busy at work, all this kind of stuff. I was good to go. I love this movie from beginning to end. I did not fully understand everything in this film. I'm not going to say I did. I understood the gist. There's several moments where out loud I was like, okay. Or I was like, woo, or I was like, yes, this is awesome. There were so many cool moments, but there was several moments. If you're going into the spoiler free, you need to know that there are several moments where the sound mixing is louder than the dialogue, and you're trying to sit there like, hey, can you guys quiet down, as if the noise is on your end, which it's not, so I can hear what they're saying. And I think that's done on purpose. There's a lot of there's a lot of dialogue. There's a lot of talking. There's a lot of, jargon and this or that to set up every single scene, and it can be sometimes exhausting. You're kind of like this, trying to understand what's going on. But for me, I accepted it. For me, it wasn't a problem. The beginning action sequence is awesome. There's a few middle action sequences that are awesome. You can't wait for them to unfold. And then the last 30 or 45 minutes is unbelievable. It's so entertaining. It's so exciting. It has time involved in it, but I don't want to give anything else besides that. There are great acting performances. I think a lot of people are going to have a hard time with Kenneth Branagh and say he was too bad. He was too evil. I thought he was fantastic. He had a very aggressive way of going about his character, and I thought it was phenomenal. And this guy's got such an acting range. You look at him as the inspector from Murder on the Orient Express, or you see him as Gilroy Lockhart in Harry Potter 2. All these different things. This guy's a serious actor. But I want to talk about Robert Pattinson. The guy was phenomenal, but he wasn't able to show as much range because the character didn't require. But he was so cool. He was so collected. He delivered his lines perfectly. He had a cool accent. And John David Washington, who plays our lead, who gave a mention to me like his name was protagonist. This guy, he was given more to play with as an actor, and he delivered in all areas. He had this very focused and determined look on his face the entire time, and it fit well with the character who's trying to just move with the pace and try to figure out. I will say that his character is the biggest trooper of all time because he just trudges along. He has all these curveballs thrown towards him, and he's just like, okay, let's go get it. Let's go do it. The visual effects were on point when you had all of the inverting and all that kind of stuff. You see in the trailer with that car going backwards. You just have it. It's so on point. You're looking for strings. You're looking for dead spots in the CGI. You don't see it. It's flawless. Like you said, with the technical things with Christopher Nolan, absolutely flawless. My biggest complaint, and I've heard this from a few reviewers so far, I don't like to watch reviewers until I give my review, but I already made up my mind. I will agree with the reviewers where they say that there wasn't enough of a connection with the characters. I definitely agree with that. But other than that, I didn't really care too much because I absolutely love this film. Absolutely love it.
I think that everything is by design. When you got a guy like Christopher Nolan, everything he does by design. You're right. Obviously, at some points, the music and the score is louder than the dialogue. Louder. That's by design. He doesn't want to let you fully in. You have to take the journey with him. You know what I mean? And he wants you to really pay attention. Like you said, I don't care how late you saw this movie. You had to be at the edge of your seat to pay attention. You ain't falling asleep during this, cousin. You know what I mean? John David Washington. For so long, people just called him, hey, that's Denzel's son. You know what I'm saying? And I actually discovered him on a show on HBO called Ballers with The Rock, where he plays a football player. And he was amazing in that. I've not seen this guy in anything bad at all. He is an absolutely amazing. I will no longer refer to him as Denzel's son. He is John David Washington. Dude, his performance is amazing. The physicality of his performance, like you said, this to me is the best Nolan fight scene, even better than the hallway fight scene in Inception. This thing was bananas. And you know what fight scene I'm talking about, the one with John David Washington. It was insane, because that's what we got to call him, because he doesn't even have a name. I think that's also by design. It doesn't matter who he is. Why are we even going to why would Nolan give you that character building, right, that people are complaining about, if we don't even got the guy's real name? He's a CIA operative. His name is Protagonist, all right? They've named him twice in the film by name, Protagonist. That's it. So, again, that's all by design, because the story is bigger than the characters, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Usually you need the characters to build a story. Here, the stories are built around the characters. The characters are almost inconsequential. If you really think about the story, it doesn't matter. The characters, their backstories doesn't matter, because of the way Nolan created this film. And I don't want to ruin it for you guys. I will say, Robert Pattinson, when you said that they didn't give him a lot to chew on, I've now seen him in 3 different roles. Remember, I was the guy that was going to jump off the bridge. You had to talk me off the bridge when they announced him as Batman. But you said, bro, you got to see some of the other work he's done. He's a serious actor. I was still thinking of this guy as a guy from Twilight. So I went in on your recommendation, saw Lighthouse. Amazing. Loved it. And in this one, physicality. I've never seen this kind of physicality in any of his roles, all right? Yeah, he was still thin, but you know what I mean? He really pulled that off, that spy off, that noir. Like, if he took this role and this was his Bruce Wayne, I'd be okay with it, all right? Because he was so cool, so slick, so, you know what I mean? I absolutely loved it. I will say, you know, I love villains and I love bad guys, and a lot of people are going to complain about how that character arc isn't built, but seeing the world as we see it today, there's some people, and I think Christopher Nolan used this line in Batman, The Dark Knight Rises, there's some people that just want to see the world burn. You know what I'm saying? They're miserable in and of themselves. They're angry. Whatever their their personal motivation is, there's some men that just want to see the world burn. And if what's going on in our world today isn't proof enough, I mean, come on, guys, turn on the news. So I totally believe that guy, and I totally bought it. There's not one complaint I have. I love this film. We're going to keep it non-spoiler. I'm going to cut myself off. Nick put an embargo on me. He said, I will choke you out 16 times if you say anything. All I will say is watch it at the movie theater. Make sure you support this film. You know, sad thing is, people are excited because on the first day it did like 48 million, 50 million. If this had come out before the pandemic, bro, what do you think the numbers would be for this film?
It would have hit at least 200 million, I would say. I want to throw a few shout outs here. Hamish Patel, he plays Mahir, which is, they just call him as a fixer. He's in this film. He's the guy who played the lead in the film yesterday, that Beatles film. I thought he did a fantastic job in the short time he was in. Aaron Taylor Johnson, who we know as Quicksilver from Avengers Age of Ultron. He plays a guy. I thought his accent was flawless. I don't think this guy is Irish or British born. If he is, and I'm absolutely he's an English accent. Never mind. I thought he was an American actor. He has got an American flawless accent. This guy was fantastic. And then also, you know, the female Elizabeth Debicki. I thought she was great. I thought she was fantastic. Absolutely love this film. I'm going to give this a solid A, because I would have liked a little more of that character connection, but I absolutely loved it. I walked out of the theater very, very happy, very, very pleased, very excited about this film.
You know, I tell you what, Savannah and I just actually discussed my grade last night when we were in the car, and we're going back and forth on how much we love this movie and what we think of this film. I also am going to give it an A. You know, to me, and I understand, the toughest part about this movie is, even though it was quick, don't you feel like you could have used another 20 minutes or so? Because it is super confusing. You're gonna have to see this thing 2 or 3 times. You know what I mean? So, and I know that's also by design, but it could have just been just a little bit longer. Just give me a little bit more, you know. And that's hard to say for a 2.5-hour movie, but I'm used to it. Maybe it's because we watch these Indian films that fully flush out characters and stories because they're so long. But other than that, I got to give this thing a solid A. I know, and you and I were discussing it. Nolan, man, what's he gonna do next? I mean, I hope it's another one of these. You know what I'm saying? I really hope there's a Tenet 2 in the future. I mean, this guy. Have you seen a bad Nolan film? We were not fans of what's that? Dunkirk. But other than Dunkirk, which other people loved, I mean, have you seen a bad Nolan film?
Well, I still really like Dunkirk. It's a really good film. It's technical masterpiece. I just didn't connect with the characters, and the storyline just didn't work out for me with the three different timelines. I have seen what's it called, about the Insomnia. That was his first with some big stars. I'm not a big fan of that film. I've seen that film, not a big fan. But other than that, this guy is phenomenal. This guy is fantastic. I will say we do get our Michael Caine appearance in this film, but it's absolutely pointless. I don't know what the point of his characters. I think they just don't want to throw some Michael Caine in there. But let us know what you think. Don't forget to comment, join the conversation. Tell us if you've seen it, what you think. Please, no spoilers, even in the comment section. Please be respectful. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let us know if you want the full spoiler review. Until next time.
All things we know. No, that's not a problem. No, that's not backwards.
We know all things. Things know all we. Try that.
Oh, I love it.